Hello and welcome to this ePortfolio highlight video for Eric Broom. I'm going to take you through some of these artifacts that I've gathered over the last 2 years for this grad program through Fort Hays Educational Administration towards a building principal license. So I'm not going to take you through any of these contents over here. This is all just guided stuff. Pretty much everything that we are going to look at is all covered in this artifact folder, and that includes a lot of this and a lot of this side over here. So let's just start it off. We'll dive into the leadership philosophy to start. This is something that I have worked on for multiple years. I actually started it when I was at UNI in my bachelor's program, and it's just kind of grown since then, and I've obviously learned a lot since then, and I really tried to make it focus a lot on developing myself and others, personally and professionally, and helping others grow. Relationships are really important to me, so that really stood out for me, and I felt like that was important to have in there. I talk a lot about creating a really welcoming and safe environment for the kids, because that's obviously super important, and an environment that the staff enjoy and want to be a part of. That's huge. Okay, so this is ever changing. Obviously, this is not set in stone. It's always changing as each individual grows. So that's my leadership philosophy. Let's bounce over to the resume. So a resume here, pretty standard stuff. The only thing that currently needs changed is these two should flip-flop right here, but the formatting was being weird. But yeah, overall, been here for about 4 years now. Had another teaching job at Waverly. This was a team lead job in Colorado, and when I was at UNI, I was a manager for an Anytime Fitness. And then education, I'm in the Air Force National Guard in Wisconsin, and then my references. Pretty standard resume. Exciting stuff there. Let's move on. Let's go over to why don't we take a look at this quick? This is we won't dive too much into this. This is just the degree in general, each class, and then when I took each class. Okay, pretty standard stuff, but that's there if we need it. And let's bounce over to the bibliography. This was kind of a work in progress too. Throughout these last 2 years, it's actually a lot of really good information that I've gathered, and it's basically 11 questions. Similar to like this. So why should a school leader be concerned about mission and vision? I annotate and have 3 resources that are helpful, and it just goes off of that. So what ethics and professional norms should a school leader possess? Again, 11 of those questions, and I talk about it, have a link about it, or three links about it, and it's just really good information to have, and something to go back and reflect on and go through again. Every once a year maybe would be ideal, because it's a really lot of good information for a school leader to keep in the back of his head at all times. All right, moving on. Here we have our ePortfolio reflection for this practicum, and it's very simple stuff. Kind of just a synthesis essay almost here to start. Just talks about my prejudgments, how those prejudgments aligned with what actually happened in the practicum, and then kind of analyzes that and how I grew from it, what I learned, and synthesizing it at the end. And then here we have, so this lists each class, when I took it, and then an activity that really stood out to me, and that I grew the most from. So I'm not going to dive into each one, but they have links to each one, and then I just talk about how that impacted my future leadership. It's really interesting stuff. Again, a lot of reflection and a lot of just building that mental capacity and understanding of these different tools and knowledge areas. So that is that. And let's move on. Let's look at, we've gone through those 4 personal goals. So there's an actual video in my ePortfolio. This is just the slideshow. But again, really great stuff to have personally. I'm a very goal-oriented person, so I just talk a little bit about myself, my background, and then my personal goals, 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 10 plus. And through all of these, I basically have a finance goal, a family goal, and a health or fitness goal. Okay, those are three things in my life that I really try to take advantage of and make sure are a big part of my life. Okay, so then it goes to professional goals, 1 through 5, 6 through 10, 10 plus. Okay, I talk about my grad program. I talk about settling into a district that I want to stay in and be a part of. I talk about making a difference in the community that I'm in. And then, 10 plus, we're looking at, not losing that growth mindset as a administrator or a teacher. It's really important not to get stagnant. Talk about that. And again, finance, having that retirement plan in place and so forth. So then I talk about why I chose Fort Hays, my expectations for the program, and that's it for that slideshow. All right, moving on. So now we've covered all those basic documents, and now we're looking at the activities that we went through. So I'll start off with my elementary activities. I did 7 of these activities. Ended up being right around 65 to 70 hours, give or take. But a lot of these have videos linked in them. But so this first one, I was just looking at supporting an improvement process. So we did a switch program. There's a big health and wellness type of program that we linked up with and go to a conference. One of them was in Ames, I know, and that was really fun. You just get to learn a lot from a lot of professionals, and they give you a lot of resources. And then we brought that back, applied for some different grants, and we were actually able to get pedometers for, I think, 2 classes, and we started a before school walking program for the kids, and we were able to use some of that grant money for fresh fruits for the cafeteria. So it was a really good deal. Really awesome program. Loved it. The kids used the pedometers and made like a project basically, and they chose us to see, if we get to this many steps, how far would that walk us across the U.S.? So they were trying to get to a certain city. We did a Leader in Me here. Cultivating that supportive, nurturing, inclusive school culture. Leader in Me, a lot of schools do that, just really pushing character traits and positivity and healthy habits. Great stuff. I did a Veterans Day program with them, with the elementary, and that was awesome. We had veterans from around the community come in. I talked about my experience, had kids talk about each branch of the military. Really cool deal. Loved that. Did a lunch schedule and supervision, so I worked with my principal here to do that. That's obviously something that principals are always involved in. Even if they have something else to do, it seems like it's pretty often that they are getting put into the supervision or cleaning or helping with that lunch in some way. Do a family leadership night, so we try and get the community involved. And basically, we kind of use Leader in Me based off of this. Or this based off Leader in Me, and have activities in different sections of the school, and it's basically just trying to really bring in our parents and community to show them how much Leader in Me is affecting us and how much we're trying to preach that to those kids for those leadership traits. Then we do newsletters. So I do a newsletter. This is usually quarterly, and it's just a really good way to communicate and with community members, like that standard says, and get the word out and keep positive vibes pushed out. And sometimes I'll add some games or healthy tips and stuff like that. And then last, I did a track and field day. Started that the year I got here. That I was kind of put in charge of that, and just ran with it. It's a really cool deal. I engaged my staff in it and gave them jobs for each station, and went with that. So that's the elementary. I'm going to try and kind of get through the district ones pretty quick because we're running a little low on time, so I'm going to do this one next. This was another 7 activities, about 60 hours. I worked with the community to build a military wall. That was really cool. Have a lot of people enjoyed that. Awesome deal there. We did a leadership spotlight. So I worked with one of our bigger restaurants in town, and we got together and worked on this for each season. And then one male and one female, and they get these awards and prizes. We do a big golf outing in the fall. So I worked really closely with our booster club, community members, big businesses around here the golf course, obviously, and this is just a lot of organization communication. Tons and tons of it. So this was awesome. Benefits the school, benefits our students. Just a great deal to have. A lot of schools do golf outing, but I've been in charge of that, and it's not not the easiest thing. Kind of a hassle some years. Good conduct letter. This is obviously information about policy and district context, so I was able to work with my principal, and we edited this, changed it, and I've been sending it out this year and sent it out last year as well, each semester. Made a district map for our both of our schools, elementary and high school, and then worked with our booster club really closely on resource allocation. So I talk about that in that video, but different things like our dugouts we did, our football bleachers, just really worked closely and evaluated the needs of what our district needed. And then parent meetings, that one I worked with. I've done a lot of meetings with my superintendent and parents. I've done a lot with my principal and parents, and I've done some just myself and parents. So those are always good, not always good, but they're very good for learning and growing and learning that effective communication piece. And lastly, let's just look at secondary. I did 10 on this one because I'm more invested in, I think, being a secondary level administrator. So I got about 120 hours almost here. I did a football checklist. I did this with every sport, just so if someone else supervises, they have a complete list of what to do. Professional dispositions and norms. This was listing just different character traits and reflecting on them. Really great stuff. Loved it. Love reflecting on that kind of stuff. A coach's handbook, so I edit this each year, usually in the summer, and then meet with my coaches and talk about it, just to make sure that we're on the same page and we're doing those professional norms among our coaching staff. The student leadership program, so that is developing a strategy to improve the school culture, so really trying to build up leadership traits in our kids. Just started this up on my own, worked with a lot of different schools to understand how they implemented that program. A staff assistance plan, so I worked really closely with my principal and superintendent on someone that had some issues, and we had a lot of meetings with them and just put together a tier 2, I think it was, staff assistance plan to try and improve that. Football bleachers was a community reach that I did and had a lot of stuff donated and helped with building it, and this was a really awesome project we did. A fund checklist request. So this is me working with my finance manager. We make sure that auditors have everything they need as far as vouchers and for officials and stuff like that, or fund requests from football team, basketball team, any of the coaches. Face covering required policies. So this I was able to work with my leadership team on what we wanted it to look like, how it wanted to read, and obviously everyone's kind of having to deal with that, but that's a great learning experience that us new administrators are having to go through. End of season evaluations and terminations. So just going through evaluations with my coaches every year, and I talk about that in the video, and just making sure our staff capacity needs, as it states up here, is good to go. And then lastly, our all coaches meeting. So like I said, the handbook, I take the handbook into here, but we cover a lot of different stuff in the all coaches meeting, especially this year with COVID. But a lot of different stuff that we go over: rules, expectations, parent meetings, what we want those to look like, needs, upcoming projects, all kinds of stuff. And then usually at the end of the meeting, there's always 2, 3, 4 coaches that hang out and have more in-depth questions or conversations they want to have with me. So that is that part of it. And that's it for the secondary. That's pretty much everything that I think needs to be highlighted here. This program has really developed myself and my mental capacity, my knowledge areas, just my leadership in general. And I really enjoyed it. And I'm just excited to take all this information and knowledge and really start applying it as I go on into my future leadership roles.